Okay, let's get started. Now we are discuss about the Poetics by Aristotle, Chapter 2, Critical Appraisal. Professor Lane Cooper has critically examined the chief traits of poetics are elaborated below. Concept of poetry. Poetry for Aristotle is a genius which is sharply divided into species, the noblest of which is tragedy. Taken together, these species tragedy, comedy, the epic, and the others. If others there were, would constitute the genius without any surplus or residuum. He couldn't, should we? Though we might include in the genius as separated from certain kind of lyric poetry, but music through confusion of thought which he escapes. We often loosely speak of imaginative literature as comprising poetry and drama, as if the drama were not poetry, when we probably ought to say lyrical, narrative, and dramatic poetry, or we carelessly talk of a dramatic poem, when we actually means not comedy or tragedy, but something short of it, a narrative poem, for example, working upon drama, but not fully realizing either form. One thinks of certain works of Browning which are neither truly narrative nor truly dramatic poem, but in a confused way represent both types. Here one must try to discover which of two or three types in is uppermost in the poet's mind. Decide whether it fulfills the purpose of an epic poem or some other kind of poetry, and judge according. The work must either be a poem or not a poem. If it's poetry, it must be some species of poetry or else a hybrid. The theory of purgations. Aristotle was the son of a physician, and though he looked all knowledge for his province, had himself a special or hereditary interest in medicine. That his thinking in the poetics is dictated by his interest in clear form, his conception of tragedy as a purgative of distressing emotions. But there are not a few more casual allusions to the same department of knowledge. Early in the treatise, Epictetus is referred to as one who threw the fact of medicine into words but didn't thereby become a poet. Yet, when Aristotle reached the subject of diction in poetry, he cites figures of speech on bloodletting and the use of the knife from this same medical versifier. On one occasion, he mentioned a riddle descriptive of a doctor cupping a patient. On another, he recalls the parallel lines in Aeschylus and Euripides on the wounded foot of Philoctetes. Again, a fault, arrangement, or disturbance in parts of a tragedy reminds him of the dislocations of bones and the singular appearance of the whole body when a limb is out of place. His interest in medicine, however, is subordinate to his studies in the wider subject of zoology and to his occupations with biology in the most general sense. Since he compiled an encyclopedia work on animals that even now is instructive, we are not astonished at his dabbling on the Platonic comparison of a poem to a living creature. The form or essential structure is to poem what the soul art form, as he would call it, of an animal is to its body. Doubtless, this is a conception in which the philosophy of Socrates and Plato has a common ground with that of Aristotle. It seems to be a fundamental conception for all human thought. At any rate, there is fundamental notion in the Aristotelian philosophy that the universe itself must be linked to an animal, having the deity as its principle of life. All nature thus becomes a work of art whose souls, whose sole art form of creating principle is God. Okay, do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.